Good morning. Shout out to the whole 6 a.m. crew. We here. How's everybody feeling today? Headphones off, ARP. That's how I'm starting the stream. Even the non-noise cancellation makes me feel weird right now. Like, when did I ever start a stream with no headphones on? I'm trying to get in my little natural vibe. Y'all know I freestyle my streams. I'm a natural speaker. So my skin is crawling a little bit right now. I'm having reservations. I'm a little nervous today. I've never done a nervous stream with y'all before. I'm a little nervous this morning. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. So what we're gonna go through today is we got the Charlie Kirk conversation into the chat, inserts into the chat. Okay. We're gonna kick the stream off there. Well, actually after the intro, but we're gonna go to the Charlie Kirk discussion first. After that, we got some Dame Dash. So he went up to the Breakfast Club, huh? Okay. We got Max B. We got Young Thug coming with some new music. We're gonna take a look at that. We got Cardi B. I'm gonna bring her up for a second. The singer David, who allegedly decomposed body parts or whatever were found allegedly in the trunk of his car. We're gonna finally bring that topic into our news cycle as well. So, and I got some funny ones that I pulled out of checks and balances this morning, and we're gonna add that to the stream as well. But anyway, all right. Instead of jumping straight into the topic, though, I gotta do an intro. I don't know how long this intro is gonna be. This is why the intro to this is why I'm nervous. I'm definitely nervous right now. Like, oh, I'm having anxiety. Is the title a reflection of my nervousness? Charlie Kirk, my most important stream ever. Is Charlie Kirk as a discussion why I feel the way I feel right now, the anxiety and everything? No. It's indirectly motivated and related to another lane of my life being opened up to the internet. Okay. I'll tell you how I got to this Charlie Kirk topic this morning. I'll tell you why it's important to me. We'll talk about how we're also opening up into politics. But let me start here. It's all just flashing through my brain, people. I promise you, I'm not scripted. ARP, me, right? Chat. Here goes a fun one, right? Does ARP have any kids? Is ARP a father? Go. I'll wait. Shout out to everybody that's on their way in. Curious. Really curious what the chat is going to say about this one. Is ARP a father? Okay, so shout out to my member KX. He says yes. Shout out to Free Money from the chat says no. Free Money also says no kid. Good morning to you as well. DJ says we don't know. Sincerely Tiff Marie says no. Nike Check says yup. Our member James Halliburton says negative. Our member Ease Digital says ARP comes across as a father. DeAndre, my skin is crawling. My skin is crawling. I'm not nervous anymore. It's already left my body, just that fast. But I do feel bugged out a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I love these comments. Ease Digital says ARP comes across as a father. DeAndre Simpson says yes. What I heard of, I'm not no A-list celebrity. So you probably would hear or not hear about it regardless. But well, Omar says, not that I heard of. Bars on Deck says yes. Fact says yes. Miss AB says, I don't know. Our member Archetype says no. The Naked Truth podcast says no, sir. David Lane says nope. Don't think so. MSM says no. Eugene says, I guess yes. Bars on Deck wants, I believe so. Uncle possibly. Y'all hear me talk about like godsons and godchildren a lot, right? Sniper, our member says no. Nope. Jay changing the topic already, says that hat though. I got this one this past weekend in Vegas. It was at Culture Kings. I got a couple more of these too that I'm gonna be probably rocking this week. Possibly an uncle, not a dad. Mixed Chick says I have no clue. All right, so I did my job. Well, I did the job that I set out to do. Hold on. There's one particular one that I wanted to put up here. It's this one. Shout out to our member Ease Digital. I want to leave this one up here. I set out for the. All right, wait, hold on. Let me start here. RBE is about 10, 11. It started in the channel started in 2013. That's when the first card was booked. And then the first weekend of 2014, our first event went down, New Year order. Um, so as a league owner, people have known me for 10 years plus. When I was blogging before that, and also when I was a part of a different company, that was about like a year and a half, 2 years prior to RBE starting. And then, of course, my last event, September 2023, Max Out 3. And then fast forward, yeah, still doing full circle, still giving y'all RBE stuff. Hell, I got a members only uh Charlie Clips versus Shuni dropping on the channel soon as that battle goes down this year. That's me sponsoring with Wing. Shout out to Winged. But the Sorry It's True podcast side of me as well. That's like what about a year and a half in or something like that, right? And I always set out to give off that I don't want you guys to be sure, or if anything, if I wanted you to answer that question yes or no, I would have preferred for your answer in your mind to be no. And I see a mixed bag of reactions that I just brought up on screen. Yes, no, negative, I'm not sure. The answer is I'm a full-fledged father, not a dad. Full-fledged, loving, caring, my first priority. Before I cut this stream on, I walked upstairs to my kid's bedroom and I kissed them good morning, just in case by the time they take their ass to school, I'm still streaming. Okay, that's one of the most personal things I ever said. That right there, like even what I'm doing before I cut the stream on. So, what I mean when I say what I set out for, I've always been very, very fearful of the internet. I've always been very protective of my freedom, very protective of my family. Um, I'm still to this day scared to death. That's why when I cut on the stream, I said, "Yo, my skin is crawling a little bit because I'm gonna open up another part of me." You know, and it's happened. Like people have approached me like that over my life. Like I have an old friend, Yanni. Um, we had an argument one time because she asked me to do a mentorship program and I declined. And she was like, "No, you're a person that's supposed to. You're supposed to be outspoken and speaking to these kids." Um, you hear me say in the past, Shata was a guy that was always just like, "Yo, give people more of you. You're a natural speaker and you're a natural leader." Um, I have a lot of friends and family, and even from battle rap, that come to me for advice almost daily. You know, it's just a natural blessing of mine, and I feel like that's another piece of my character why I try to be positive so much is because I feel like if things don't go 360, you affect your own karma. Okay. But my fear of the internet and my protective nature has always been like, I'll tell a story about being in the mall with my godson or whatever, or I'll have these passionate moments about you know, kids getting hurt, and it'll bring tears to my eyes on stream and shit like that. It comes from being a father. Okay. So my son is 12. My daughter is 9. I've been a father for longer than a lot of y'all have known me. All right. My family is all over my body. Okay. This tattoo that was done recently is related to my son. This one's related to my daughter. The one on the back of my head, that's a family tat. It's you know what I'm saying? Like my family is all over my body. I could show y'all my leg right now that has my 2 kids' names on my leg, and people don't know what it means. Um, I'll tell you what it means. Fuck it. Should I show y'all? Am I doing too much? Yeah, I'm probably doing too much. Just on my gram, probably. But my leg says Adam and Eve, right? Eva. Where does that come from? So everybody knows my name is Adam. I was named after my father. Right. My mother's name is Eve. And so it used to always be crazy because my mom's would like introduce me to people or her friends or whatever. And like, what's your son's name? Like, his name is Adam. Like, they would be like this. They would go, "Oh shit. All right, so you're Eve, that's cool. And you named your son Adam. Okay, biblical? No, it's not biblical. My father's name is Adam. So it's like, wait a minute. So if it's not biblical, if the father's name was Adam and he just happened to meet this woman named Eve, that shit is crazy. They just happened to meet. And then when they created life, I was named after my father. Right. So it's just like when people hear that, they're just like, oh shit. Like it's all. So when I had my two, there was only one way for me to go. My son is going to be a junior. He's going to be a second coming. And I already have in my family tree 5 Adams in a row. So I wasn't going to get to my son and change it. Um, so he was named Adam. When my second child was conceived, I said, number one, my hero, my idol is my mother. Right. There's like a lot of gray area that I've left on the internet, but I think you could pick up on certain like maybe his mom's or his child, his children, or the breast cancer thing. That's always we see that in battle rap on the stages and on stream. So when I knew I was having a daughter as my second child, I was just like, you're gonna be named after my hero, after my idol, my mother. And number two, it's just gonna happen to be and line up like that, where it's like the second coming of me and my mother, Adam and Eve again, but now in the form of my son and my daughter. So, oh, like I'm getting chills right now talking about it on stream for the first time, but that is me. Um, I'm not a dad. I've been with my children their entire life. Children live with me. Okay, I'm not one of them. So when you see that passion from me, when you see those type of topics from me, that's where it's coming from. Okay, so I'm opening up another lane of discussions on this podcast, and I'm allowing myself to be a little bit more vulnerable and share more, share what would put me in jail in a split second. My two closest, my pride and joy. I'll be put in jail in a split second for them. And that was always one of my main protective natures on the internet. Like, no, I'm good. Like I might actually post, I'm thinking about it. I actually might post my son and my daughter for the first time to my Instagram today. And it's not like a Michael Jackson hidden thing. It's once again, my kids live with me. And they always have since they've been born. I'm one of them. Like if you know me in my personal, all the people that talk to me over the years that know me, like let's say even from the battle rap world, they'll be on the phone with me, and I'll have to hold on and say, "Hey, Adam," what I'm saying, in the background, like everybody, all the rappers and they know what type of thought, like they know, but general fans and podcast wise or blog wise, like people aren't sure, So that's why I left this comment up here. ARP comes across as a father. Yeah, it's not an accident. I've been that for 12 plus years. All right. So now that I've shared that, that's where the Charlie Kirk thing came up yesterday. The part of my stream saying my most important stream ever is me allowing myself to open up more, right? And share things that I'm extremely protective of, like most parents and fathers are, right? Um Charlie Kirk now. So yesterday, and I this also allows me to talk different. Let me just add this piece and then we'll start to move into the topics. There's so many topics, like as I talk and I'm processing my words and my points, it's so many references in the moment. I stop myself and I word differently because they're tied to my kids. And I'm just like, nah, I don't put that shit on the internet. I'm gonna end up killing one of these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And I'm growing in that aspect, and I don't want to do that as much. I want to be able to talk freely. I want to be able to be more of a guy that says, I got to go run some errands, and instead just be like, I'm about to take little Adam to the football game and talk like that on my podcast and be as because a lot of shit is tied to, I think, good imagery, good karma, good messages. It allows me to connect more with the parents on this channel. It allows me to show my age a little bit more. It allows me it allows me to flow more natural with things that I really prioritize. You know what I'm saying? So y'all heard me talk about my godchildren a bunch. And it was like, oh, he invests everything in his godchild. I got my own kids at home. But I have a bunch of godchildren too. Okay. So um now this is what I mean about speaking freely as it relates to the topic. So I'm in my kitchen yesterday, right? And I got my two little ones. They sitting down at the dinner table and they eating. And I'm off on my cell phone, on the other side listening to some bullshit, some shit on the internet. And I just Charlie Kirk's name just pops, like, you know what I'm saying? And I turned to my two little ones and I said, are y'all do you know who Charlie Kirk is? That's how I started. I said, do you know who Charlie Kirk is? And my daughter was like, nah. And my son was like, yeah. And it's just like it's amazing. Parents, thank you once again, Ease Digital. I appreciate this comment. Um, it's amazing, like as parents, how much our like I'm doing it right now, like I'm able to speak more freely. I love it. I feel like a handcuff has been taken off. But anyway, it's incredible how much our children learn outside in the world, outside of us. Okay. So Charlie Kirk inside my house has never been a discussion. He's never come up, you know. So when my son is like, who's older, so he gets his hands on a little bit more information, a little bit more worldly than my younger daughter. But he's like, yeah. And I said, well, hold on, let me stop what I'm doing. Pause on the cell phone. Uh, um, this could be important. You know what I'm saying? Don't make me tear up on stream, y'all. Let me live. Let me live. Don't make me tear up on stream. I'm telling y'all, this is my most important shit because it allows me to be something that is the most important thing to me, which is a father, more on the internet. So I turn a little man, and I'm just like, how is it being discussed? I want to know: is it his friends? Is it his teachers? And what's being said? You know what I'm saying? So he's like his friend, and ironically, he has a friend named Charlie. That is probably his most respectful friend. I love the kid. The kid walks into my house, always make sure he finds me. I always preach that to my kids' friends. Like when you walk into somebody's home as a kid, find the king of the house. Don't let me walk upstairs and you've been here for 3 hours and you ain't say hello to the king of the castle. You know what I'm saying? I teach that to my kids' friends. So he's always like that. Find me. How you doing, Mr. Adam? Blah, 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 blah. Um, he's very articulate, good kid, good kid. But my son says, Charlie was talking about Charlie Kirk. And I was just like, okay, what did he say? Like, is he a good person? Is he a bad person? And he was like, nah, he's a good person. So I was like, ooh, now it's not bad to say that, but I'd be curious about the context. Now I've met Charlie's parents. Charlie's parents they're cool. I meet all my children's friends' parents, pretty much, right? Yeah. Um, then I ask, is the teachers talking about Charlie Kirk? Son says no. And I'm like, all right, it'd be cool there. So now I'm sitting down. I'm just like, so what do you know about Charlie Kirk? Right. And remember I told y'all I didn't know Charlie Kirk respectfully until he was assassinated. But I went and did my homework. And it was a big responsibility of mine because, like I told y'all on stream, I said, I believe situations like this is immediate national news and possible global news because other countries are watching, whether it's a political activist, somebody that's in politics, government, activity, assassinations. And if you look at Charlie Kirk and you see his ties to Trump, it's very possible, in my opinion, that he's being groomed right in front of our eyes to be a president candidate at one time, right? But anyway, I always feel like when you have big moments like this in the world, well, especially in our country, you have to pay attention to the aftermath because it could be dangerous for us and our kids. Our kids are going to school. For example, if your child is from the Middle East and 9/11 happens, right? Will they get taunted, or will they get played with in school? Um, when the DC sniper gets caught, is there a vibe of like, oh, these black people, or OJ, right? The OJ verdict comes down, or Donald Trump gets elected, or Kanye West says some stupid. But Charlie Kirk's assassination, I think I might have put that in the thumbnail, "Country at War." It's greatly heightened racial tension in this country, and our kids are outside walking amongst it. So I continue the conversation, and the same thing I taught my son yesterday while sitting at this table is the same thing I'm going to preach here. Mods, make sure that when we get into politics, or when we have any Charlie Kirk related conversations, or conversations similar to this, make sure that you moderate in a way that has no toleration for the taking of lives. We don't tolerate it over here. Okay, it's bad karma, it's bad energy. Um, and me being a public speaker, I do not want to cultivate or induce any type of energy as if that is the way to solve issues or problems that we feel over here. So mods, we have a zero tolerance for, actually, with me getting more into politics a little bit and these type of discussions, now that I'm opening up certain books to y'all, I might even add a couple more mods. It's important to moderate and keep the vibe of this podcast correct. You never know if people land in here momentarily. Some Charlie Kirk radical comes in here and it's just like, wait, he doesn't believe in Charlie Kirk's philosophies. Oh, fuck y'all, what up? Like, we don't want to tolerate that stuff. And we're not a chat that's going to say good for you or none of that. We're not for that. But back to my conversation with my son off the assassination part of it. Charlie Kirk's philosophies and all the video, I probably have watched at least 10 hours of the guy at this point. I've done my background and my homework and gotten a vibe and listened to people, the Candace Owens, or whatever. I always say Candace Owens. I listen to people around them, and it's just, in my opinion, in this country, you can be in front of these cameras and you can be political and you can be a racist. I mean, then again, why am I saying, like, in my opinion, like, it's like reality, right? Like, duh. You can be a maybe the best way to put it is a closet racist. I don't know if Charlie deserves that stamp or not. I'll let y'all determine that. But I feel like there's just certain things that could be said, or certain positions that could be taken that are insensitive towards other races or cultures. That, especially as a black man, it's one of the first elements or thoughts that we're gonna have. It's just like, this feels a little, divisive, or I feel division here, or I feel a little bit of a look down here, a little bit, you know. And it doesn't mean you have to come out and say fuck black people or go back to Africa. You know what I'm saying? But your Mel Gibsons, you know, it came out on him. Your NBA owners, your this is why you had a lot of people from the black community. Me, I played it quiet when Hulk Hogan passed away, because perception is one thing, but how people feel in their actual privacy and their reality, I feel like I see into it a little bit without you telling me. And I don't want to fully stamp it, but how else am I supposed to feel as a black man when I listen to Charlie Kirk? You know, being in this country, how else am I supposed to feel? You know? So we respect life. Let's keep our karma correct. But now let's continue to just talk about, what he represented. Um, all right, let's start getting into politics now. Something that I've strayed away for my entire internet career. All right. But we now getting into politics more on the Sorry It's True podcast. All right. Actually, before Charlie Kirk, let's go directly to Trump. Um, What is this caption? President Donald Trump couldn't care less as he trashes radicals on left amid political divide after Charlie Kirk shooting death.
We do about our country with that, because we have radicals on the right as well. We have radicals on the left. People are watching all of these videos and cheering. Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem. And they're vicious and they're horrible and they're politically savvy. Although they want men and women sports, they want transgender for everyone. They want open borders. The worst thing that happened to this country, because I've already solved inflation, costs are down. Look at energy costs. You're going to have $2 gasoline pretty soon. I've solved just about every problem. The worst thing that happened to our country is when we let 25 million people in, many of which, and I say 80%, should not be in our country. They emptied their prisons into our country. They emptied their mental institutions, insane asylums. You don't know what that is. That's seriously, you know what that is? A mental institution on steroids, okay? They emptied out insane asylums, crazy people into our country by the millions. And it's the hardest thing. We have a border now that's totally secure. Nobody came in. Think of that. They actually announced nobody. We used to have millions of people come in. Nobody came in. And we back up the border with the military. We've done a great job. But the worst thing that happened to our country is to allow millions of people in from jails, mental institutions, drug dealers.
Right.
They threw them all into our country. And these stupid people, and some of them are stupid in terms of common sense, but they're brilliant in other ways. Biden wasn't calling the shots. It was the geniuses that surrounded, radical left geniuses that surrounded him unfortunately, he used the Resolute desk. That's the one I used. I hated that he used it, but he used it. But they called the shots and he didn't do anything. Look at what happened. The auto pen signed everything. He wasn't aware of anything that was being signed. It's so illegal.
They let out killers from prison and he doesn't even know it.
They took the unselect committee that, investigated stuff. It found out that we were right on everything. They burned all the information because we were right on everything. Nancy Pelosi knew. I told her, I said, I'll give you 10,000 troops, January 6th. I'll give you 10,000 troops if you'd like. No, we don't want them. Oh, well, they found out that was true. They found out it was true. They burned everything. And Biden gave them a pardon. He gave these people on the committee, Congress people, he gave them a pardon. And it's so what they did. What he did to this country will live in infamy. So what he did is, and I say, Lawrence, I say what he and his people, because he was up sleeping most of the time, he should not have been president.
What do we do about our country with that? Because we have radicals on the right as well.
So my background on politics as well, let me make sure I divulge that. I've never been a big politic guy. I haven't voted in every presidential run. Some of them I just be like, I could be here for hours explaining my background on politics, right? One of the highest opinions that I have about politics is that not to get anywhere near the conspiracy lane of things, but how much is there to be like a mask? How much it's there to be controlling. Damn, am I gonna do both politics and religion? Fuck it, let's open the books in the same stream, Adam. Like, damn. Probably not. I'll save religion for next year, another year, a layer of me opening. But in general, I had younger experiences in religion that made me feel a way. Okay. Government, right? The government has been exposed many, 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 many times over. Like, let me just use Trump. Does Trump seem like some collegiate Harvard graduating? There's people in this chat right now that would probably say, we probably think that you're a smarter person than Donald Trump, ARP, right? He's never come across as the sharpest knife in the box, but yet he's the president of our country. And there lies, like, just an example of how, to me, a president is a spearhead. He's the spokesperson. He's the front face. He's the person that can rally people up. Obama did the same thing, to be fair. He was able to rally more youth. I don't trust none of them. I don't believe in any of them. But now we come to another general layer of some of my feelings towards politics. The left-right stuff, that is a piece of this clip. I just have this opinion that it's all bad for us, right? Once you create gangs, groups, divisions, you give the sheep of the country the ability to choose a side and have something to ride for. That's where all the planting of these flags come. And people that get to say F your side, no, F your side, no, we want this, no, we want that. um that's where it feels uncomfortable if your neighbor is pro Obama or pro Trump, or you, as a black man, you drive in certain neighborhoods and you see all these American flags in the front of the houses. Now, as a kid, I grew up in my class and we said the national anthem every day before school started. I'm supposed to be proud of my country to see the American flag, but the country has created a history that even makes a black man or a black woman unsure of why somebody has an American flag in front of their house. It's bugged out. And politics is a part of creating all of this. I literally watched a clip the other day of a guy that was saying, this period of time that went after the Charlie Kirk shooting, Trump unleash us, tell it's okay, and we will go door to door and we will cleanse this country. And people were adding the FBI under it. Like, FBI, look at this guy. Somebody go pick him up. He looks like he's ready to go on a mass shooting spree. And this is what politics does, directly or indirectly. Blood, crip, differences of religion, differences of it. That's what politics does. So if you even ask me, like, what type of voter am I? Like, what do I preach in my household? I don't preach either one, because I'm not restricted to choosing what I think benefits me, my people, my family, my friends. There's things that I would say, oh, as a Republican, I agree with that. There's things I say, oh, as a Democrat, I agree with that. There's things I could say, oh, that makes sense for you liberals, or that makes sense over there as a conservative, But I see a lot of people that fall into the whole, it's got to be one side. It's got to be one thing, And that is so destructive if you walk through life like that. Like you can't lock me down to one side. You just can't do it. I'm the guy that walks into the sermon and says, hey, pastor, what do you got for me? And he goes through a 2-hour-long spiel and wants me to say, adopt every single word that I say. I say, nope, just that 5-minute piece that you did about why we should not harm our fellow man. That's what I'm going to walk out the door with. The rest of that other stuff of why I should join the church and some of the stuff you're talking or whatever, I don't know if I agree with that. Like, you up here, you got some pastors out here that are like gay bash and shit. Like, I'm cool. I'm not walking out in the world like that. I don't got no problems with homosexuals. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I live my life. But with politics specifically, we're all going to continue to grow. I don't follow politics to the T. I have my opinions on the stuff, some of which I just said. But going back to the Trump clip, when he says left, they're radicals. And it's pushing exactly what I just said about creating divisions in the country and at times infuriating either side just by taking a position. The political term left, all right? Learn with me, people, please, unless you're a politic person and you know all this stuff by heart. Core ideas of the political left: economic equality. So this is the positions underneath that. Support of wealth distribution, progressive taxation, and social safety nets, welfare, universal health care, public education. Okay. Belief that the government should play a strong role in reducing economic inequality. Okay. Economic inequality, reducing that. Okay. So a person from the left, it will always tear at things like, let's say, government assistance, Section 8, welfare. They'll always go after those things. Okay. Social justice, advocacy for the rights of marginalized or oppressed groups, racial minorities, LGBTQ plus people, and women. Okay. Marginalized or oppressed groups. focus on ending systemic discrimination and promoting equal opportunities. So that to me is like a person that's going to be heavily against affirmative action, like Charlie Kirk, for example. Okay. I had that conversation with my son and my daughter last night too. Hey, do you guys know what affirmative action is? Do you like, what's your beliefs? How do you feel about this? It's all related. This is how I say I'm showing y'all a lot of this stuff I pay attention to, whether I'm into politics or not, it affects our kids out in the streets, the society that they're growing up with, the people that they might interact with, the laws that may change around them, how they have to navigate this million ways to die or end up in jail, right? Being aware, being worldly. Workers' rights, support the labor unions, workplace protections, minimum wage increases, and collective bargaining, critique of large corporations and unregulated capitalism. So some of that isn't bad. The other ones, there's some issues in those that I know a lot of people would have. Government intervention, favoring more active government involvement in economy and society to achieve fairness and protect vulnerable populations. Well, we'll save it for another day what a vulnerable population is. Okay. Progressivism or progressivism, whatever. Progressing. All right, my bad. Y'all see me stumble on a couple words here and there. It's all good. Openness to social and cultural change, reproductive rights, immigration reform, often in favor of reforming traditional institutions. So it sounds like, see, the openness to social and cultural change, reproductive rights. Abortion is always going to be a big topic. All right, chat, we could save that for another day too. You know, do you support abortion or a woman's choice? Do you not? We know where, like, let's say the Charlie Kirks of the world stand on that. Okay. Let's now go into some of Charlie Kirk's specific positions. All right. Let me take the smaller screen for this one. All right. Charlie Kirk is in his own words, prowling blacks and the great replacement strategy. Chat, you can start to drop how y'all feel about that. Is that him? Replacement strategies? Do you feel like he prowls blacks, whether directly or indirectly? Do y'all feel that? Do y'all get that vibe? All right. The far right commentator didn't pull his punches when discussing his big voted views on current events. All right. Let's get to some of these high level ones. All right. So now the section on race. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. He said that January 2024. I believe the context around that is related to affirmative action. Okay. But even without the full context, if you're a black man, a black woman, you're going to feel away. I know what his agenda is there, but I like a person that don't even bring up a person's race. If we're going to talk about affirmative action and how it relates to somebody just ending up in a position of being qualified or not, I mean, before there was affirmative action, you know, there's still racism, of course, but we had this thing called segregation, right? And there's a lot of people today that still live with those philosophies of believing that, oh, you don't belong in this town. Like, look at that shit that's happening in the Ozarks, by the way. But anyway, you don't belong in this town. You don't belong in this school. You don't belong in this water fountain. Like, you know, you don't have to give me 40 acres and a mule, right? But our history is our history, and trying to erase it, I take issue with people that try to do that in the first place. If you're a WNBA pot smoking black lesbian, do you get treated better than a United States Marine? Question mark. Black. Why? Pot smoking. Did y'all hear his take on Beyonce's music, y'all? Now, I don't give a fuck whether you're a Beyonce fan or not. You could feel it though. You could feel it. You see his takes on like rap music and everything. Like he wanted it banned from the earth. Like it's just like, you know, that hip hop is our culture though. There's a lot of things that are detrimental to society at times or to teaching our kids, but that's what a parent's job is for. That's where our job comes in. You know, you should hear the music that I play around the crib or in my car. You know, but it's my job to make sure that my children don't follow that shit. All right. it's my job to teach you, like, yeah, we just watched this John Wick movie, but we're not supposed to go out there and shoot 50 people. That's my job. All right. So the targeting of women there happens, the black lesbian and the black I see it. I see it happening all the time in urban America. Prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact. It's happening more and more. Okay. If I'm dealing with society and customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder if she's there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? If we would have said that Joy Reid, Michelle Obama, and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called racist. Now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. You do not have the brain, you do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Steal a white person's slot. Now, let me pause there for a second. And some would say that's not his intentions if you're backing the type of words that he says, right? But whether you take responsibility for it or not, the vibe that you create with your public voice, it does what it does. And we can look outside and see how his messages get interpreted by certain people, right? Certain people. That's like if I got up here and I just ran off my beliefs in a certain way about battle rap, and there's possible, like, not violence, but a retaking element to it. You never know if some of my followers walk around outside with that vibe. Like, and now if you see somebody from the right or from the other side, you might feel like you need to take something back, you know? And our children, once again, are walking around outside amidst this energy. So his word, his philosophies, his opinions, not everybody is a well-spoken debate champion like Charlie Kirk. Okay. You have millions and millions of ignorant people who take those words and, like that viral clip that went around, say, hey, Trump, just let me go door to door and cleanse the country. You know, your words become dangerous amongst millions of people when you're having the splitting of who's right, who's wrong, who's bad, who's this. And this is where terms like "Make America Great Again," it affects certain people. So as a black man or a black woman, when you see the red hat, it doesn't have to be just the person that's wearing it. It's the message that other people are carrying for that. You know, it's why we looked at Kanye like, you standing there with Trump like this, it hurts us, whether you realize it or not. It hurts us. Putting on that red hat hurts us. You can have an agenda that you believe is clean, but the symbolism of it, the interpretation of it, the messaging behind it that comes along into all these other people that are influenced, Kanye, you create negativity, whether that was your intention or not. And Charlie Kirk is guilty of the same thing, whether you're intending or not. And I will say for another day what I believe his true intentions are with every fucking word that comes out of his mouth. But whether it's that or not, it's clear he's smart enough to look out and see what type of following is being created with him. And if you become a radical on either side, how do we not say you don't become dangerous to society if you become that charged on either side? All right. Is that not how we create assassins? Is that not how we create people that want to go on mass shootings? People that want to write on bullet casings, hey, take this, Republicans, or take this, Democrats, or hey, fascists, take that. That's how we get that. All right. Maybe it's just me. On debate, prove me wrong. I'm going to continue to carry a similar energy. I think because when I say Charlie Kirk, I know that he's deceased, rest in peace. But remember, the Charlie Kirks of the world are still very prominent here, and his messages possibly just got stronger with the passing of him. It becomes like a martyr situation. All right. The prove me wrong thing is the energy we're going to keep here when we discuss politics. We're not going to allow people to feel like certain demographics or certain people, they're not capable of carrying debate or allowing difference of opinion. Okay? No, especially us black folk. We're well capable of having a debate, a disagreement, a discussion. I know you probably heard one or two hip hop songs, but for many of us, violence isn't always the answer, which is another reason why, quick side note, I was so happy that it was not a black man that did that. And white folks, if you don't understand that comment, let me explain further. We black folk know the vibe and the energy in this country. And we know the divisions of this country. We've been walking around amongst the energy since our birth. We know what it is. You have to be a black man or a black woman to feel it and fully understand it. Okay. And if we feel like the minority, if we feel like there is still racism, if we feel like there's a strong presence of stereotyping, I'm not saying it doesn't happen to Asians, Hispanics, or even whites. It happens to everybody. But I feel what I feel as a black man in this country since I was born. Right. The moment I you gotta be careful with some of this shit, y'all. The moment I try to act like these divisions, aren't there. First of all, I'm ignorant and I'm walking blind, right? And I refuse to do that. I think it's dangerous to be blind to it. All right. But when you have these situations that happen, and if you feel like a black person is tied to it, you feel like you will be targeted more. Okay. That's a black man's feeling. I was trying to find the best words to put that out there. So we might cheer for the cultural wins that we get during the course of history, right? We cheer for them. But we feel the vibe of like, fuck, the DC sniper was fucking black. Damn it. You setting us backwards, dickhead. That's how we feel. And it's the same thing with this particular shooting, knowing that it's political and Charlie Kirk had the type of message that he had. If that shooter was black, we would have felt a vibe, and the things that would be getting said out there, it would feel wild outside. It already feels wild outside, but it would feel crazy. It would feel crazy. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying there. But anyway, the prove me wrong thing that I have highlighted up here. Now we're gonna carry that same energy, which is we are very capable of just discussing our opinions. All right. On gender, feminism, and reproductive rights, reject feminism, submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge. I know a lot of ladies gonna have problems with that. And remember, black women have a stereotype of being aggressive. Hispanic women have a reputation or a stereotype of being possessive, and black women have a reputation and a stereotype of being aggressive. So this whole "you're not in charge" thing, listen, I do believe in a traditional household for the most part of playing your position. Allow a king to be a king, but allow a queen to be a queen, right? Whole nother conversation. But the approach from a political standpoint, I believe, is so tenfold that it offends women. It offends the shit out of them. It's like, stay there in the black and white TV days, put on your fucking apron, cook that dinner, and shut the fuck up. Like, it's just like, wait, women's not going for that in modern era, buddy. All right, discussing news of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's engagement on the Charlie Kirk show. So I don't remember what that is or why it was controversial, but anyway. The answer is yes, the baby would have been delivered. So he says that in responded to a question about whether he would support his 10-year-old daughter aborting a pregnancy conceived because of a R on the debate show surrounded. So he has to take this position. he's such an advocate of no abortion, that no matter the circumstances, he has to say yes. And I think he's been passionate about it. So I believe that that's really where he stands, and it's not just his political, consistent answer. I think there's billions of women that are offended by that. You know, it's like if I get hard, like we'll save it. We'll save it. We got a lot of politics to start open. It's a big can of worms, and we're gonna start to open it more and more on the Sorry Shoe podcast, people. Okay, so we got time. This is just one stream. A different day, different debate, different conversation on gun violence. I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have our Second Amendment protect our other God-given rights. So that's one of his most viral clips that go around ever since his passing, because it's like, you died by gun deaths, and this is your own statement, right? Now, where you stand on the right to bear arms, is one thing. But the right to kill somebody because of a difference of opinion is a different story, right? On immigration, America was at its peak when we halted immigration for 40 years and we dropped our foreign-born percentage to its lowest level ever. We should be unafraid to do that. Okay. The American Democrat Party hates this country. They want to see it collapse. They love it when America becomes less white. Hey. Oh man, I'm gonna slow it down a little bit now. This on Islam, these takes on religion. Let me read the. I know he's very religious. Hold on. All right, so on religion, there is no separation of church and state, and it's fabrication. It's a fiction. It's not It's not its constitution. It's made up by secular humanists. All right. Okay. I'll leave that one alone. When we talk about how things are all like this catapult agendas, right? Was anybody in New York during 9/11? The government, companies always try to find silver linings, right? If the buildings get hit by a bunch of airplanes, right? Whether the government was involved or not, okay, it's still going to be used as an opportunity for change. Like, you're going to see gun laws change. You're going to see stop and frisk come back. You're going to, if you were in New York during the time of 9/11, you remember what it was like to go into the subway systems after that, and they had random checks. You could walk down the stairs into the subway, and there could be a bunch of police officers with a fold-out table in front of them. And of the thousands of people going in and out of Manhattan and out of these subways, maybe I should say millions, but whatever, every day, they could randomly stop anybody post 9/11 and say, "Come here, come up to the table, empty the contents of your bag, your purse on the table. I now have the right to look through all your shit." Now, I go George Carlin with that. That's bullshit. That's just a control. The same way George Carlin had the opinion of, you can never fully protect airplanes because too many people have access. That's the truth. When you have this many people that have access, like, now you're just doing something for a show, right? The same thing goes for post 9/11 searches in New York. If there's literally this one police officer at this one train station stop or entry or exit, literally has thousands of people passing him, but he randomly says, "Hey, you, white guy, black guy, Indian guy, Spanish guy, you with the black book bag, come on over here and dump your shit out." It really, really is bullshit. It's 100% bullshit, because what about the other 999 people that walk past you? And not to mention, it was randomly stationed. And if you know subway systems in New York, I could literally look down the stairs, see that cop in that folded table, and say, "Oh, I got allegedly something that's in my book bag that shouldn't be here. You know what? Just in case I happen to be out of the 1,000 people that this person stops because of the way I'm dressed or the way I look or the color of my skin, I literally just have to cross the street and get on from the other side." And I'll cross over underground. Or I could walk up a block and just get on the station somewhere else where there isn't a cop. So when you got millions of access like this, what you guys are doing You're practicing controls. I'm a full believer of that because the logic really doesn't add up. Okay. So here's another example of this now. Donald Trump administration reportedly orders several national parks to remove slavery signs and exhibits displaying corrosive ideology, including photo of enslaved man's back scars. The words corrosive ideology. National park to remove photo of enslaved man's scars. The Trump administration is ordering, okay. The scourge back. The scourge back and the scarred back of African-American slave named Gordon, who escaped from Mississippi and reached the Union Army camp in Louisiana in 1863. The photograph is attributed to two photographers. So I give the photographers' names who were in the camp at the time. It became one of the best known photographs of the Civil War and a powerful weapon for abolitionists. Gordon served in the Union Army African American regiment and reached the rank of sergeant. Wow. And this is what I mean. So post Charlie Kirk's passing, you're going to see a lot of things come to forefront. You're going to see a lot of people come to forefront. You're going to see politicians, presidents come to forefront with certain laws, philosophies, changes. Let's get rid of some of these historic slavery reminders and elements and statues, and let's make sure we bring in this Charlie Kirk statue. It's tough, but this is the country that we live in. I'm not one of these guys that needs to have the argument, well, go live somewhere else, kick rocks. I'm just talking about humans, period. Okay, how we're treated, period. I don't know, man. It's scary. Our kids is outside. All right, let me go to the alleged shooter. Let's play a little bit, not this full thing because it's a longer video, but let's play a little bit of it says dark secrets emerge of Charlie Kirk shooting investigation.
We have major updates in the Charlie Kirk shooting. Now investigators are saying that DNA evidence directly links the suspect, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, to this crime. We also have information about messages that authorities say he allegedly sent. It does become a question where and how he sent them, but we're going to break it all down with a Utah reporter who has special insight from the ground. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. We're continuing our coverage of the Charlie Kirk shooting, and there have been some major developments just in the past 24 hours that we want to talk about, like how federal investigators now reportedly say that DNA evidence directly links 22-year-old Tyler Robinson to this crime. In fact, according to FBI Director Kash Patel, Robinson's DNA was apparently found on a towel used to wrap the rifle, the alleged murder weapon in this case, and even on a screwdriver recovered from the rooftop where the shots were fired. Speaking on Fox and Friends this morning, Patel also said that Robinson implied he was going to kill Charlie Kirk in a text message conversation and even wrote a note about this. That note, according to Patel, was destroyed. But get this, according to Patel, law enforcement was able to piece it back together. Now, prosecutors also are moving toward capital murder charges. As of right now, at the time of this recording, we are expecting Robinson to make his first court appearance tomorrow to be formally charged. But I will tell you, in a sidebar from last week, we covered this extensively, there is an affidavit that reveals he was arrested on suspicion of committing aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, and obstruction of justice. We will see if those are the official charges that are leveled against him. There is also talk about whether or not he will face federal charges. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, Utah Governor Spencer Cox has also confirmed that Robinson is not cooperating with investigators. But now, while he may not be cooperating, turns out, based on the reporting, others around him, including his roommate and family, they apparently are. It was his own father who reportedly urged him to turn himself in after recognizing him in surveillance photos that were released by the FBI. And now the big question, of course, is motive. Why would somebody do that, right? That's the big question right now that has been the focus of a lot of different narratives. Well, family and friends apparently told investigators that Robinson's politics had hardened in recent years, that he had criticized Charlie Kirk, specifically as, quote, spreading hate. There were the messages that were apparently engraved on the shell casings left behind that reference anti-fascist slogans, memes, song lyrics. Governor Cox confirmed that Robinson was in this romantic relationship with his transgender roommate, who has since reportedly turned over disturbing messages about retrieving and hiding a rifle. Although I will tell you, there was a strange back and forth about whether this was through the gaming platform Discord or whether this was over text message conversations. It's a little strange. We'll talk about it. But this roommate, by all accounts, was shocked by what happened here. Now, the investigation is still unfolding. This community, this nation is looking for answers about motive, security, what this attack means going forward. So to help break down the latest developments, I want to bring on friend of the show, Utah-based reporter, host, anchor for KUTV2 News, Brian Schnee. Brian, so good to see you. I mean, my gosh, you and I were talking almost every day when one of the biggest cases in the entire country happened in your state, Ruby Franke. Now we're back again, all eyes on Utah. There are a few points I want to hit with you. First, tell me, though, who have you spoken to? What have you learned on the ground?
Well, the very early days, we learned a lot through the course of just talking to people that work here locally for federal agencies and whatnot. When we were there, I got on scene in Orem about an hour after the shooting. I was sitting at my desk in Salt Lake City preparing for a 12:30 interview. And at 12:29, I got a text from a source who said, Charlie Kirk has been shot in the neck, massive response. So I still conducted that interview, all while the phone started blowing up and everything started happening. And then we were able to get down there about an hour or so after the shooting took place. It's not a far drive from Salt Lake. For those not familiar with Orem, it is in Utah County, which is just south of Salt Lake County, which is where Salt Lake City is, kind of close to Provo, where BYU is. So there's a lot of university college students there in that area between Utah Valley University and BYU. And what we were hearing early on is, oh, there was a person in custody. And then that person was released. And, oh, there's another person in custody. And then that person was released. And then we've got this information coming out from the FBI director that person has also been walked back and released. So there was this information disconnect in the early hours of this where we knew the basics. We knew there was a single gunshot. We knew it likely came from an elevated location. We knew there was some law enforcement there, but not a whole lot. And we were trying to figure out what happened next and where did this individual go.
Now, you may already know this, but we here at Sidebar, we produce so many video clips a day, and we use a platform called Opus Clip. This may be of interest to you. It's an all-in-one AI editor that makes it easier and faster to videos for TikTok, our biggest trial. And was it a scene just insane? I mean,
it was
just pandemonium.
It was. And we purposely, when I was driving in the car with my photographer, I said, don't go to the main entrance of the university. We're not going to be able to go anywhere. So my mindset was, let's go to the north side of the university, the northeast side of the university, where there's some access roads. It's kind of that back side to the university. And when we got there, the roads were closed, but boy, did we see local SWAT and police combing the woods and looking through cars and just marching back and forth to where at that point we realized, okay, I don't think they have their person. I don't think they have their individual. And we were watching them, use canines on culverts and tracking certain areas, going door to door, asking people for surveillance video, which is where some of that video eventually came from, where we saw Tyler Robinson walking down the street. And I was right in that area. And did we know it at the time that was likely the escape route after the shot? No. But when you were able to put pieces together, that is certainly what it felt like.
Yeah, the New York Post is reporting there is this newly released surveillance footage where you allegedly see Robinson walking in that area hours before the shooting. There are a lot of questions right now. And we'll talk about Cash Patel in a second, but there are a lot of questions right now about security. There are a lot of questions about how, if Robinson committed this crime, he had access to that building. Are you getting any clearer sense about whose responsibility was what? Was there a gap? Were there deficiencies? Was there a lack of communication? Understanding a little bit more about how, if Robinson did do this, how he had access to that roof and was able to fire a shot at Charlie Kirk?
Well, it's not clear how he gained entry into that building and actually got onto the roof. But obviously, some of the surveillance video you do see is on campus going up and down a staircase, right? So if there was a door or a certain access way that was left open. But what we did gather on Thursday night, so keep in mind, this happened Wednesday in the early afternoon hours. We finally heard from a university representative on Thursday night who spoke to just about 2 or 3 of us in a small room right there in the staging area at the Keller building on the UV.
We will grow. This is our entry into doing more politics along with the normal news that we do. I'm not perfect. I'm not a super politician guy, and I will continue to grow with the rest of the chat. Checks and balances, people that hit me up on Twitter. I'll be taking in more information. By this time next year, I will have way more knowledge. So my references that I'm using right now is just resources that's in front of me, homie. So like I said, I started to learn more about who Charlie Kirk was after the assassination because I knew it was going to be a big impact on society. I was being responsible for myself and my family of understanding what's going on outside. So I do say at times, and I think you hear me when I say with or without some of the context, I do say that, right? And I'm a big proponent of how things could be lost in context. Okay. But I have consumed enough footage of who Charlie Kirk is to get a read on what he represents, as well as the impact that he has on his followers and people in this country. Doesn't make some of our takes 100% perfect, but let's continue to share information and grow along the way. And, give us some time and we'll continue to look into all of this type of stuff and respectfully discuss our differences of opinions, homie. I got you.
Campus. And we asked him about what was everything followed correctly within your policy and protocol for an event where you have 3,000 event goers in a amphitheater-like open air venue surrounded by tall buildings. And they said, yeah, everything was followed per our protocol, to which we asked, well, what are you going to do now? Because you have other events scheduled on campus. There's concerts, there's athletic events. And one of the kids I spoke to, I say it was a kid because he was a high school kid, right when we got there, he walked up to me and said, hey, I want to tell you about what I saw. And we were just about to do a live TV or a TV hit for one of the national programs. I said, if you can hang tight, I'd like to talk to you. And he hung around and he told me, I remember this vividly, and I also shared it on my social media channels, that he said, I feel like I've seen more security and police presence at sports events on campus than there was for something like this political speaking engagement, this rally, if you will, this organized group where people can come and have that freedom of exchange of ideas. And we learned rather quickly in that first press conference that there were only 6 uniformed UVU officers, to which one of my colleagues asked the Orem mayor later that day or the next day, hey, were you asked to participate in this? And they said no, but we would have had they asked us. So was there a breakdown? Not really on paper, from what I've gathered. It sounds like if they're telling everything to us truthfully based on the questions we've levied at the university, is that they followed everything they would do for any other sort of community group sponsored event where somebody like a Turning Point would come back and have a speaking engagement in that area. It sounds like it was the same thing. However, this obviously had deadly consequences for not having surveillance from up high, drones. I was at a concert here in the Salt Lake area just this past weekend. There was a police drone in the sky. I don't know if I had just not noticed it before, but with thousands of people in an area, even after you walk through metal detectors and all those things, there was none of that last Wednesday. None of it at all.
Yeah, and look, hindsight could be 20/20. We could say, how could you not have that? How could you not ask for the police department's help? But look, to think about like something like this happening, I mean, was it foreseeable? I don't know. We can debate that. What I do want to know is what we're talking about today, because we just learned that according to FBI Director Kash Patel, Robinson's DNA was allegedly found on a towel that was allegedly used to wrap the rifle, a screwdriver recovered from the rooftop where the shots were fired. I mentioned earlier that Kash Patel also revealed evidence of a note and a text exchange suggesting he was going to kill Charlie Kirk. What have you
Nah, they definitely are. Look at Charlie Kirk's following. What's up, Belly?
been learning, and where does this fit into the overall story?
Well, this fits in exactly what I heard Wednesday afternoon from a source when I was in the area, telling me they found the weapon located in a brushy sort of wooded area on campus, which, by the way, there's not a whole lot of room there. There's like a couple canals that move through, and it's pretty tightly knit there on the UVU campus. But again, this is kind of close to the area where I was standing that day, Jesse. We learned that I learned rather quickly through a single source that gun was recovered on Wednesday when I was there, and it was recovered rather quickly within the first few hours of that search, and then it was wrapped in a towel. Now, the picture we saw floating around on social media, which I could not verify, showed that rifle that was in an open box, if you will. I had not heard about the box, but I had heard about the towel. So now that we're hearing from Kash Patel saying this towel, that lines up to what I heard just hours after the shooting on Wednesday. And it makes total sense. I mean, if they feel like they have their individual and they put together these pieces finally after having the other individual who we were found just actually a probable cause affidavit for the first individual that was taken in, and you see those viral videos of that older gentleman who has the obstruction of justice charge against him right now. George Zinn, yes. And he claimed, according to police, numerous times, I shot the guy, but he wanted to be a deflecting matter, if you will, for the actual shooter. So the obstruction of justice charge is now being pushed on George Zinn. And the towel and the rifle doesn't surprise me as new. I know it's new to us today,
right?
But based on what I heard days ago, that lines up exactly with what I had heard from a federal source.
Brian, I'm actually really happy to have you on for a number of reasons, but one of the reasons is it has been very tough for us here on Sidebar to report accurate information about what is going on. I find this very confusing. You know, Kash Patel came out this interview on Fox and Friends and said that he has no regrets by the message he put forward initially before Robinson was arrested, where he said the subject had been taken into custody and then was released. He said, could I have worded it a little better in the heat of the moment? Sure. But do I regret putting it out? Absolutely not. Do you find it difficult right now? Do you think the public is getting the full picture as this investigation continues? Because once we even get into the Discord conversation about what was said, let's put that to the side. Do you find it difficult for the public to understand what exactly is going on here?
I thought that in the early hours or the early days. I think people were owed a little bit more preliminary information quicker and in a more accurate fashion. There was so much complexity to the early hours of this investigation after the shooting that there was this catch and release sort of thing because there were so many people there and you had all these political views and all these people that had these ideas that for some reason they would spit something out of their mouth that said, I did this when they didn't. And that whole thing was a mass confusion. I do think there's a disappointment that we would say, hearing from the FBI director, hey, we have this individual in custody, it's the suspect. That's why they were so quick to use the word person of interest early on, because I didn't think they wanted the public to get the wrong picture of suspect versus somebody we believe may be connected to this incident, right? Was this one shooter? Was this multiple people in the crowd where it was coordinated? And now we learn really at this point, it seems like it was one individual who may have at least had those conversations, which you alluded to on the Discord app. The information flow was tough. You may have noticed that there was very little leaking of information out there. It was very tight-lipped. I would say I was surprised how little information was coming out, especially from our national partners, right? That typically have really good high-level sources in certain areas. On the local level, I knew exactly who was spearheading the information flow. It started with the university and then quickly stopped. And then it took this larger scale from the state to come in and disseminate that information, which, was it a little messy at times? Yes, but I believe everyone was getting that limited information all at once. We weren't getting everything. It was very selective, the information that was being released. It was that real 5%, right? That 5% is being put out, or maybe less than that 5% with a lot of thank yous at a press conference, which isn't information. The patting on the back is not information. As the public, people want the information yesterday. I understand the delicacies, though, of this, Jesse, because this is perhaps the highest profile thing to happen in Utah in a decade, maybe more. Unfortunately, has the state back on the map again. You and I have talked about a number of things happening in Utah over the years now. Nothing quite like this. It was disturbing. It was heinous. It was unfortunate that so many of our young individuals in our area had to witness this firsthand. But at the end of the day, there's this yearning for information. And was it slow? Yeah, I think it was. Was it inconsistent? Yes, it was inconsistent. And I think that's where a lot of people may have gripes.
And look, there's a lot of questions right now, particularly about information about the motive and why he would have allegedly done this. And something we've heard a bit about is Robinson's online influences, whether he was being radicalized online. We had previously heard rumblings that he might have been involved in this online.
The only guess that I had for that one, because we all saw that, the old man that they had down on his knees, hands behind his back, and he was yelling out at first, I have the right to remain silent. I have the right to remain silent. And then as they was dragging him off, there's times where he wasn't purposely using his legs, so I had to even pick him up at the end, right? But as they was walking him, there's a lot of people running around, just people that were at the campus. And they was like, fuck you, you monster. And they're getting at him because they're like, oh, that's him. The cops got him. And he's just screaming out, shoot me. And blah. It's just like, why is he saying that? And I already had the logic that we said on our past stream. Like, there's no way you grab him in the midst of that. If he was on the ground, he wasn't on a roof, right? If he was on the ground and you don't got the gun, like, they're not on a bridge where he could just throw it off the side of the bridge into the water. Like, you would have the gun too if you had him right there on the spot. So it didn't make sense. The only way I could rationalize him saying that is if he's a little kooky or whatever, but maybe he thought he was being detained or under arrest for a different reason, right? Maybe he thought, he was just there having his radical type of opinions or whatever. And now he's under arrest and cops grabbing or whatever. And maybe he did do something, though. Maybe he had an argument. Maybe he had a fight, but I never believed that he was a shooter, even from a shooting standpoint. Like, if they arrested him on the ground, like, that type of shot, once again, was taken from a distance. So you're not laying with a tripod on the ground and shooting. Like, even tactically as a shot, there has to be an elevation. I didn't get it. But this type of stuff will continue to pour in. I see people in the chat saying that there's another person that's claiming to be the shooter. It'll all just unfold piece by piece. One thing we knew, there was definitely going to get somebody, right? It's just a matter of days, always.
Groyper movement, this far-right faction of followers of commentator Nick Fuentes. And Newsweek even reported that the killing of Charlie Kirk has reignited attention on this movement, the Groyper movement, reportedly known for its confrontational style. It's rooted apparently in white nationalist, alt-right, Christian nationalist circles. It's frequently targeted Kirk for being too moderate. Online, we've seen reporting that Robinson maybe didn't like Kirk because he wasn't conservative enough. However, it is important to note that we haven't confirmed this information ourselves. State records reveal that Robinson was listed as an inactive voter at the time of his arrest and didn't have an affiliation. Governor Spencer Cox has confirmed that Robinson became more political in recent years, that before the Utah Valley University event, he had discussed Kirk's viewpoints during a family dinner. In fact, FBI Co-Deputy Director Dan Bongino told Fox News today that Robinson had a, quote, obsession with Charlie Kirk, also saying that there were potential warning signs, adding, I believe coworkers stated he had detached himself when the topic of politics came up and walked away. Bongino warned, did they hear it and think it was a joke? This is what we're trying to find out now. This is what he told Fox News. If there is a larger network here, we will get that out to the public as soon as we can. Now, Robinson is also apparently, or in this romantic relationship with his roommate. And as we stated earlier, this is somebody who is apparently transitioning from male to female, and from what we know, has cooperated with investigators. Cox emphasized that authorities are still trying to understand how that personal relationship may have factored into this attack or not. But the FBI has stressed that they are still investigating Robinson's background, the possible motive, and right now they are declining to provide more insight into political motivations. Brian, where do you see this conversation going? What have you seen in terms of what the potential background, motivations, events leading into this alleged attack by Robinson?
Well, a lot of the same. We heard about those family conversations pretty quickly about the family that actually helped turn him in after they learned this in Washington County, which you're familiar with Washington County. It's in the southwest part of the state. So this is not close to where UVU was. We also learned that he had learned about Charlie Kirk being in the area about a week or two prior. And there were those conversations that they eventually started to find on the Discord app talking about different things. But there was this moment where I kind of realized it could have gone this direction. It's when I learned that there were more of the inscriptions and engravings in either the weapon or the bullets. And that was something, as soon as I heard that, which was quickly, because again, I learned about the firearm rather quickly, but did not put that out because of the constant information barrage that was incorrect. I really wanted to be careful, which is why a lot of these things I didn't put out immediately, because there was so much bad information and misinformation being spread about this entire thing. That is when I realized that there may be more to the story than just a individual who's a little upset, but maybe had gone down a completely different path, which is what we're hearing now about Tyler Robinson as the FBI continues to investigate this. Heard some rumblings about a roommate. That didn't come out until a little bit later. Did not know about the transgender situation or the transitioning or any of that. But now as the story plays itself out, you do realize why initially they were calling this a political assassination, not just because there was a political figure that is there that has these political views and discusses political topics and gets the youth involved in these political conversations, but because there's this other side that this very well is potentially politically motivated in some which way, shape, or form based on viewpoints.
And just to be clear, have you seen anything?
Let me let that last question
from your reporting, whether or not Robinson was leaning more left or was leaning more right, or do we still not know?
The only potential confirmation we've gotten on that is what the governor has said, which he says leftist ideology, right? That's what we heard very early on. And that's what he confirmed on the Sunday morning shows, basically ran the gamut on all the Sunday shows. I hate to say it doesn't surprise me based on some of the preliminary information we were gathering about the additional information they were going to uncover potentially about the suspected shooter.
He has his first court appearance scheduled for tomorrow. Anything that you have seen to indicate that he wouldn't be charged with what he was currently booked on, right? Aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction, and
get charged everything. Whether he did it or not, gotta remember, people, like the public outcry, the public demand, the political requirement to have somebody on display persecuted, giving accountability for, or taking accountability for, it's all required for something like this. You have to get somebody, you have to get your man. The country raises up for situations like this, and we've seen it on smaller scales as well. I use the FBG Duck situation because of where he was killed. The city and the state and the mayor, they stand up and say, we got to give the public answers. Now we believe they got the right people, they were convicted, the old block shooters, right? But in this case, I keep a third eye and I keep reservation because, once again, I don't really trust the government. So, I saw a picture up there with dude holding a rocket launcher, some shit like that. I believe they have unlimited resources. They can put in front of us whoever they want. Is this the real shooter? Maybe not. I stay objective because if I'm that guy that just allows the government to tell me anything, that's how also you create some of these radicals, right? That's how you create the people that I'm saying we need to pay attention to out in the world because they become dangerous. They start putting up videos talking about Trump, give me the green light to go door to door and cleanse this country. I'm like, here we go. Here we go. So don't be a radical of nothing. Be objective, take in what you believe are your facts and your truths and apply no matter the side, left, right, up, down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, be more of a truth chaser than a side chaser. Right? We got a long way to go with politics, people. We got a long, long way to go. Let's clip it off. We opened up the podcast that much more, not just from me personally this morning, but also from a political standpoint. The core will always remain hip hop. That's where all of my knowledge, that's where my childhood, that's where my whole life. I'm a hip hop baby. I'm a sandbox guy. Hip hop is in my blood. The way I walk, the way I talk, the way I dress, what I need to play when I'm in the gym, what I need to play when I'm in the car, what I argue over, what I had literal fights over. Hip hop, where my public legacy started from. RBE, hip hop. My hip hop. All right. It was always stay my core. I could talk more hip hop than anything else up here, damn near. Okay. So, no, we're not turning to a political channel in case anybody gets worried. Like, what was going on? But I see from the chat, y'all are very, very interested in this shit. So, as some of this stuff continues to come across, we will cover it. Checks and balances. Don't start overpopulating our chat with political updates. Hey, this law just got changed. No, we're not there. All right. Stay true to who we are and the content that we've already began covering on the Sorry It's True podcast. But bigger things we will start to pull in. And the Charlie Kirk one, I think, is the first one that I think we need to follow, because I think we do a good job of that. We take certain topics. There's a lot of people on this channel now from a podcast side that say, I met you during the Kendrick and the Drake coverage. I met you during the Diddy coverage. I found this channel during the Drake and UMG ongoing coverage. You know, we're going to cover the whole, when they get back into court and everything, the whole Big U trial. We're going to cover the whole Little Dirk trial, maybe every day. You know what I'm saying? This Charlie Kirk one, I think, is one that we need to bring in. You know, so if a big update comes once or twice per week, you know, that's so Sorry It's True checks and balances. You know, please, people, don't flood us. Right? And shout out to the Sorry It's True chat. I'm not even in it once again. I'm getting updates behind the scenes. I don't even know if it's all members or if it's just general chat. If y'all continue to spin up chats, I think that's so dope. I support it fully. I may join some of them with y'all because I'm a frontlines guy. I'm on the ground with all of my people, but at the same time, I definitely respect and appreciate the fact that ARP and in this chat, we were over here. This is where we could talk shit about today's episode, and he don't got to hear all the critique. I'm totally fine with that too. So whatever y'all want, I'm with y'all. All right, let's move on now. Let's go to Dame. Word on the streets is Dame asked for his Breakfast Club verbal fade and then got up there and issued a physical fade threat, right? All right, let's take a look. Let's see what's up with Dame. Continues to be a very compelling and interesting person, right? All right, let's see.
But
yeah,
I mean,
I'm just trying
Shout out to Chicks.
to figure out, you know, how did he lose?
How did he own it?
How did he lose the rights to pay it in full, or did he even? Did he even own the rights to pay it in full? Because I just want to know the business. Like Dame is always teaching the business. He's always teaching about ownership and being a boss. So I just want to know, how did 50 end up getting the rights? Because I thought Dame had the rights. I would assume. I don't know.
But are we still talking about this boss conversation? Like, is that a conversation that we're still having? That's the first thing he said. 50 Cent is his boss, but 50 said that's his partner on it. He's EPing with him, so I guess they're partners. But I hate this boss conversation because I hate the fact that people be like, I don't need no boss. I don't want no boss. Well, sometimes not having a boss will lead you into foreclosure and only having assets to lead up to $2,400. Like, you can't keep having this boss conversation without having a real conversation about entrepreneurship and what you need to do as an entrepreneur. We can't keep having these conversations.
Dan posted that old clip of him getting at you on Breakfast Club.
I ain't see that in a long time.
Got you a little hot this morning, huh?
Nah, that clip is amazing. That clip is amazing. If you see what happens within 10 years and then you look at that clip, you be like,
oh man,
somebody made a bad decision.
Well, I will.
Dame should be happy that the rights to Paid in Full went to another black man. And he should be happy that that black man decided to make another black man the executive producer of the film. Not to mention Cam was a star of the original film. That sounds like good black business to me.
Yeah. Collaborative
and I also
business.
I agree. And I think the way that, Kim has always been, a great storyteller, but he's been dominating content for so long. Him teamed up with 50. I'm really excited to see the way that they tell the story as well, too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And it's unity and group operation. How can you not be happy at the fact that a black man got the rights to a film and decided to make another black man the executive producer? Like, people at the top are collaborating.
Yeah.
People at the bottom are competing.
Yeah, and that's what
Dame responded to DJ Envy and Charlemagne criticizing him and told both of them, yo, I want a verbal fair one with both of you guys. Let's see if you accept. All I want is a fair one. Well, looks like Charlemagne and DJ Envy accepted the offer, and Dame will be on the Breakfast Club tomorrow morning. Now, obviously, the episode was taped today. The Breakfast Club released a very tense moment between Charlemagne and Dame.
My name is Dame Dash, a.k.a. Dusko Poppington III. Tomorrow, I have a lot of announcements to make. I got to talk to Charlemagne and Envy about the things they say when I'm not there. You acting like a girl.
You move like an old auntie. You an old Harlem auntie.
I could punch you right in your face like a grown man. I won't. And you won't do shit. So, see you tomorrow. It's been real.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but I cannot.
Yo, Breakfast Club, is this releasing today? We need this. He said, Charlemagne, push that button, man. Like, how do you not put Charlemagne at the center of any good radio, man? He knows how to get great content. He will steer you. He will guide you. He will press buttons. He will be objective. Like, yo, sometimes it's not gonna go the way that we expect. Like, we might look at him like, damn, did you really need to do Little Mama like that? And other times we be like, yo, I'm glad somebody's asking Beanie Siegel, like, are you picking sides when it comes to this Meek Mill shit? Because you just switched up and like, wait, what? So Charlemagne, gods of the world, we need him. We need him, man. Motherfucker said you out here acting like an auntie. That man Dame said, I could punch you in your face like a grown man. Charlemagne said, we gonna be fighting. Charlemagne finally offers some physicality back to somebody. Yes, I need to see that shit today. I don't know if it's up right now. I'll fuck around and check as soon as I hop off this stream, V. But dang, man, you better not go up there. You better not have one up there and taking a major L to Charlemagne, because Dame chases verbal confrontation. It's part of him. He feels like if I can debate, if I can argue, and he's very opinionated, he'll overtalk the shit out of you. And when you go back to that classic interview when he's sitting up there with Murder Mook, and that's what DJ Envy was just, taking shots at him about, that whole segment of having a boss. All right. Now, it was always put across in an ignorant way. All right. All right, Dame. All right, it was put across in an ignorant way. The premise of what he was trying to say was, I think, or the best part of what he was trying to say was about instilling ownership and trying to be progressive and trying to take control of your dreams. So that's when they was talking about their kids. He was like, yo, did your kid this? Or can your kid get a job up here right now if you wanted to, Envy or whatever? And that was Dame's teaching as a father to his children, I assume. Entrepreneurialism, taking control, being a leader. But in this world, everybody has somebody over them. You don't have to call them a boss. You don't have to call them a manager. You don't have to call them the CEO. There's always somebody above you. So if you walk around thinking that you need to be top dog, I don't know how conducive that's going to be when it comes to success. Because you have to work with other bosses, number one. Even if you are the top dog, which nobody is, we don't see the faces of the true top dogs. There's somebody above fucking Lucian Grange in UMG. There's somebody, well, if there's not, there's people that he needs to make sure that he's on the same accord with. Okay, there's always somebody above you, right? And in these situations that Dame keeps having, if he's having these conflicts with other bosses, maybe it's because you always present this, I'm the super alpha, I'm the top guy, I make the final decisions, and you're pissing all these people off. Like his whole lineage, or not lineage, his whole history of being abrasive, we know that. Okay. But people, if you work for a company and you don't own the company, it's okay. It's okay. Should you strive to move up to the highest ranks possible in whatever field you're in? Sure. Work ethic, consistency, going for all success, never being complacent. Absolutely. But I would be the last person up here to preach that, oh, it's a problem. You are in the red. You are in the wrong if you have a boss. Like, like come on, man. I think it's about, if you're in a boss role, how do you carry yourself? Like, look at me for RBE. I'm the end all be all. I'm the final decision maker, whether you're talking to the co-owner, whether you're talking to a partner, whether you're talking to Winged, whether you're talking to the battle rappers, whether you're talking to Ruin Your Day, the venue. I'm the final decision maker, right? But nobody around me ever felt like a worker. I might have talked to you disrespectfully if we got into it, right? But I never treated or moved like a worker. Actually, my transparency and being on the front line was good and bad. It gave people the ability to get the insight into RBE, identify with RBE, feel personalized with RBE, understand RBE's personality and plight, understand our goals. You know what I'm saying? Stand for something more than just booking battles, right? Is a deeper meaning around RBE and how we carried our legacy. And I'm the center of that. Okay. But then at the other side of it, you're too accessible. You shouldn't be arguing with that person. That person ain't even half of what you bring to the table. Or this league owner is quiet. So, and that's what we're used to. I will remain a black sheep. I take it as a compliment when people say these other people don't do that. I take that as a compliment. I'm like, yeah, I'm very comfortable being different. Y'all don't realize that by now. Like, like I've got rare breed tatted on me, man. Like before RBE started as a company. Like, hello, wake up, catch up. But if I work with other bosses, or if I am the boss in a particular arena or scenario, I set out to make everybody feel empowered. I feel like that's how we get the best out of each other. Okay. When I do pay-per-view deals with battlers, we partner in. I'll call you and I'll tell you, like, yo, or I ask you, how do you feel about this matchup? How do you feel about that matchup? Like that's the way, to me, that worked for me, or works for me in many different fields, in many different arenas. This overly aggressive of, I need to be the top dog and put people underneath me. Who right now is on their way to work and feels comfortable with bosses or managers that act like that? Wouldn't you rather be able to, like, let's say you report to Jim today, you're going to your job and you're having a conversation and Jim's just talking to you like you guys are equals. Doesn't that feel better? Even though, from a respect and a hierarchy standpoint, I report to Jim. Jim has the final say. If I say I want to do this and Jim says, no, we're not doing that, I got to go in that direction. But at the same time, he listens to me, he respects me, and I feel like an equal. Wouldn't you rather that type of work condition? Because there's always a ladder. There's always a hierarchy, but how you move and how you act is the reason why he's outcasted his fucking self in those rooms and in those conversations. Fucking Dame. And so his delivery and his message of his own philosophy came across ignorant and abrasive. But that's one of those things where it's like the wrong, decent philosophies to teach young people that should remain ambitious, but the messenger was wrong. And DJ Envy is still kicking him for it on the low. He's like, look where you at. That nigga brought up the lawsuit. You worth $2,500 shit. Like that nigga Envy still, because Dame was up there kind of like sunning Envy a little bit. Fast forward 10 years. He's like, look where I am, the guy that has a boss. And look where you are, the guy that says you will never have a boss. Huh? You want a loan? Like, that's so Envy's going to always kick him for that clip. Anyway, all right. Let's get into fast news. That's what I'm going to start to call those segments of the stream. We have our main topics, the ones that we sit down on and, might take 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes, an hour. And we get in the weeds of a little bit. And pretty much that was like the Charlie Kirk one. and a little bit of the Dame one. But when I say fast news segment, that's what I'll call them. Then you guys will know what those are. That's when it's like, all right, quick thing that's going around for us hip hop heads and entertainment world people. Let's pay attention. What's this about? Yada yada yada. That's where we at now. Okay. Fast news segment. Let's get to it. Let's see. First and foremost, I got Max B. Max B. He's got a jail call talking about, I believe, his release.
Okay, let me read y'all this letter. It's from the parole board. It's an out-of-state plan approval. It says, "Dear Mr. Wingate, please be advised that the state of New Jersey parole board has received the parole plan acceptance from New York. You are to be released at the expiration of your sentence as determined by the New Jersey Department of Corrections to begin a 5-year supervision. You are to be released at the expiration of your maximum sentence as determined by the New Jersey Department of Corrections to begin serving a 5-year period of mandatory supervision component of your sentence. The mandatory supervision will commence upon the date of your release and be supervised by the New York State," which means I'm out this motherfucker. Hold on, let me show y'all the letter. This is raw proof, baby. Wingate Charlie, out-of-state plan approved. Okay, let me read y'all this letter. It's from the...
And then he posted the letter. The caption over here says, Max B reads a letter he received from the parole board regarding his scheduled release for November 9th of this year. Mr. Wavy himself, a.k.a. the Silver Surfer, he might be here in November. Everything he was reading on a call sounded like parole terms or probation terms. So let's see, man. That man has spent a lot of time, a lot of big portion of his life in prison, and not he was imprisoned even before this whole stint for this alleged, did I call it alleged? But this murder situation. But wow. I just hope that he gets an opportunity from the industry. Meaning, when you come home from jail, you super hot. You get the respect from the people. Oh, you just served time. We love you. You know, welcome home. Somebody might check you off. Couple rappers here, give you a chain, give you a car. Somebody might help you get into a crib. You know, you get that treatment. But all that shit is just for the moment. You know, like I come home and this rap over here gave me a chain and I shopping spree with this person. But what about 12 months later? Time flies. Okay. That's where he needs to be able to be in a position to sustain himself. So I hope his music, number one, is good. You know, he's got to be current. I think even though his old music will still go over very well today, like his old style, but he's got to get the opportunity to make good music. He's got to be played. He's got to get his streams. He needs to make hits. People need to feature with him. And if he can get into that star status, y'all think y'all take the word star for granted. If you can get into that star status as a solo artist, especially if all of his business ties and dealings are, because I don't even know where the shit stands with him and Jim right now. I'm talking about contractually or whatever. I don't know. But if he's clear to be his own solo artist at this point and he could make some hits in there, and then you know he's going to get some good features and push him into that star bracket, then I'm pretty sure for him, he'd be like, that's his best outcome. But you could come home, get your welcome home, get your love, get checked off with a couple dollars here and there, somebody get your car, and then 12 months from now, it'd be like the where are you now type shit. I felt that happen to Rowdy Rebel. You know, the music didn't really connect. You got your love when you first came home, and now he's facing jail time, right? But musically, you know, the GS9 movement, they never got back to that. Bobby Shmurda is still a big enough artist to make some money out there. Get booked, do some shows. You know, he's still got a name. But it seems like he's never been able to get back to where he was. Max, you got a shot, man. You got a shot. You got a shot, man. I hope the best for him. All right, let's go to Young Thug. Young Thug's teasing some new music.
The trunk in the front. Today's not the right. I'm spending 100. We shot.
The trunk. Dude, the first 2 tracks you were doing so good. All right. What was the first one? We called everybody a rat. It was a dope track though. And the second one, we got the apology song. It's not bad, you know, it's cool. But I get it. You try to take what's bad and you try to claim it. Drake tried it. He did the Metro Boomin BBL Drizzy with Sexy Red, right? He tried to take it and like, I give it to me. Let me see if it works. Let me see if I can claim it. Hell, Birdman. I think the biggest clip for the Breakfast Club is Birdman's video, All Tree Y'all, right? And because he got so much viral, people laughing at him after that, what did he do? He created a t-shirt, you know, put some respect on my name. He tried to sell it. And you try to flip shit, man. Like, what else are you gonna do? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So here we go. You're viral for your whoop-de-doo shit. And it's like the first song, dude. The shit was fire. To me, I like that song. Just go there. Don't do something different. Don't react to musically to what that all goes away. They're not going to be doing whoop-de-doo remixes on you 6 months from now. The internet's going to move on. You are just a big target right now. They got you in a spot because of your own calls and your own interrogation audio, but it moves on and you have to pull a gunner. How many times do y'all just have to read the room? Like, literally, you don't have to say this publicly. Like, how did Gunna get away with what I'm saying he did? He shut the fuck up and he made good music. Period. That's what he did. You know? And Doug, take the advice. Don't pull us back to your whoop-de-doo. You don't need that song. There's a million songs you could make. I don't know if you think that that's your way to fight back. Hey, man, I'm walking in it. And then whoop-de-doo, there's no way you can even spin it into a cool thing. The whole term itself, nobody says that. Nobody like, yo, we ain't going tonight. Fuck it, whoop-de-doo. People don't even talk like that. So they could continue to clown you for your own song. You think you're going to clown yourself? The 8 Mile effect doesn't always work. You could lose the coin toss, go first and say, I'm just going to rap about myself. And then my opponent's going to be left there, which is the whole internet for Thug, right? My opponent's going to be left there. He's going to have nothing to say because I already took all the bullets out of his gun. That's the 8 Mile Eminem approach and tactic and chess move. Whoop-de-doo doesn't fucking work like that, B. Go back to the first song. You just did it. He stepped on his own song, though, because he then dropped the interview, which I thought was a good interview, but then they started pulling it apart, and it's like, there's some stuff in there where you're going to get killed for that, including whoop-de-doo. That's where that birthed from. But imagine the interview comes out. He does his best to defend himself. He speaks out for himself. Most people will speak during a time like that. Not everybody's going to go Gunna. He spoke out for himself. Some things work, some things don't. You wait a couple weeks, here comes the hits, or here comes the dope music, right? That song got stepped on. Yeah, a lot of podcasters and media platforms saying, yo, that track is dope. That track is dope. He stepped on it with his interview. So now you're trying to get back to the music, and now you're reminding us about why people clown you over pieces of the interview. Bad move. Y'all need to start hiring people like me as your PR, man. I got some decent advice. Whoop-de-doo tracks ain't it. No. No. All right, let's stay in the quick news segment, man. Jesus. Come on, Doug. Come on, son. Come on. Cardi B. I thought this was a funny clip of Cardi B and Cardi.
That's why sometimes when I see like a new little bitch coming up with some shit, and I feel like they kind of cool, and I feel like people be dragging them. I be sliding in their DMs like, it's like, hey, you know, this temporary. This is a good and bad thing. But sometimes you gotta know who to do it with, because I have done that to bitches that done went and fuck my man and all that shit. So it's like, you gotta know who you being nice to, because it's like these bitches right here, you out there feeling sympathy for them and wishing them the best, and these bitches will beat you and fuck your nigga. That you ain't even realize them bitches.
Look at her face.
You are here like, damn, she look like a nice girl. I feel bad for her. Like, it's like, let me think that, bitch, then you start being shady to me. And it's like, oh, bitch,
I'm not
fuck you,
supposed
bitch.
to be kind of giggling at this, but it's how you're delivering it, and it's really throwing me off because it's not funny. But take on it, girl. The way you are.
Head. That's why sometimes when I see like that ass is some real shit. Like
so animated.
It's some real shit. Like it's really some real shit. Like that ass.
All right, let's be clear, people. In case anybody's been on the fence, this is a friendly zone to Cardi B or on a Sorry It's True podcast. Let's make it official, okay? I'm not always as supportive of the super ratchet group of these celebrities. I can't stand Sexy Red. I despise the Sukianas of the world. The Britney Renners need to go somewhere else, hopefully one day, right? But Cardi B basks in her ratchetness, and my thing is, she's always been like that, and she does it in a way, or she's the type of person that just sits in her authenticity. When she was in court, we saw the clips of her falling asleep. When she's on the stand, they asked her about her. She's like, "It's a wig, nigga." Like it's authentic. It's authentically her. So we shall remain supporters of Cardi B over here. You know what I'm saying? Once again, just because she ratchet and shit, don't ever think that y'all gonna bring the Britney Renners and the Sukianas and the fucking Sexy Reds over here. Nah, we will never push them. Many of y'all just learned this morning. I have a 9-year-old daughter. All right, so fuck no. And now y'all could even see. That's why I'm glad we just opened that up this morning. Now you can see where I get so passionate about some of that shit. When I get up here and I be snapping on Britney Renner or Sexy Red or these fucking whatever we gonna call them, man has a daughter. You know what I'm saying? I have a daughter. A 9-year-old fucking daughter, B. Fuck them. Hell no. All right. I'm gonna play the video for this one. This isn't new news, but it's a new update. Enters the chat. This David thing. Now, the reason why I left it alone in the past is because I don't know him. I don't know his music. But from a legal standpoint, and him ended up, under investigation, and the story is compelling. All right, checks and balances. David enters the chat, y'all. Okay, we shall begin to cover this. We shall begin to follow this story. I think I'm pronouncing it right. He's spelling it like this in this cool way, but it's David, right? Two big questions remain. Who's the girl? Who was using the Tesla? Let me play this video first. Let's see if we can come up to speed or get on the same page. But a body, allegedly, or pieces of a body found in a trunk. All right.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. The investigation into this mysterious murder, we're assuming that it is a murder, a body that was found here in Hollywood in a Tesla. Body parts, chopped up body found in a Tesla belonging to the singer David. And as this investigation is going on, we actually got a lot of new information about what police know, what they've learned to this point. But as this investigation is going on, David is in the middle of a tour right now. Police, as we told you yesterday, police have said, and his people have said to us, he is cooperating fully with this investigation.
And 12-year-old son. So, Battle Rap Facts. Watch the intro of today's stream. And good morning, G. Good to see you. Yeah, 12-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter.
Found out about this grisly discovery while he was on tour. Last night, he was performing at the Fillmore in Minneapolis and didn't, to our knowledge, didn't reference the investigation at all. Crowd was there and enjoyed the show.
So here's what we know.
It's got to be odd for him to be out on tour.
Oh, it's
knowing what happened back here in Hollywood.
And we don't know even what he knows. Now, I'm not in any way suggesting he's even a person of interest. But here's what we know. On September 5th, which was last Friday, police found this Tesla on a street, a residential street in the Hollywood Hills. It had been there for more than 72 hours, therefore it's declared abandoned. A tow truck comes, takes it to a police tow yard, and the people who work the tow yard smelled this noxious odor.
On Monday,
and
that's when they
opened the trunk, and they found this garbage bag with body parts inside.
Damn.
So, robbery homicide is working on it. This, obviously, it seems like a murder. And the question is, who was driving this car? Who took this car? And there might be answers based on the way Teslas are designed.
Right, because people who have Teslas know that the cars are lined with cameras, and there are even some with cameras inside the cars. So there's a wealth of information right there in that car.
Not only that, though, there's GPSs in Tesla where they can go into it and you can basically just track through their system where they went, when it stopped, when it turned on.
They'll know where it was.
Not just Tesla.
If they have video,
you'll see who's driving the car.
And more important, you're going to see who went in the trunk and put that bag in.
It was in the front trunk.
Well, the front
because
trunk,
obviously
right,
the Teslas have the front trunk. But the interesting thing, I feel like just the big missing piece here, obviously we learned that he never reported the vehicle stolen.
Right.
I mean, he's out of town, so who knows? Maybe it got stolen and he just didn't know.
It just was never reported.
Or he's, a 20-year-old kid who's out on tour and has a bunch of friends that use his car, his house, his different things. So I'm sure he has some idea of who had access to his car.
If those are the two options, my intel, and this is unconfirmed, but my intel is, I don't think it was stolen. It was everything I'm hearing. It was not a stolen car.
Kristen Clemens, Dayton, Ohio.
So the development shall roll in, and we will see. See some of y'all with the Tesla comments in the chat. My man Dop got a Tesla. He drove it when him and his family came and hung out with me. I put some of those pictures on my gram. So what was that, like a couple months ago or whatever? And I remember I was on the phone with him on his drive down. I was like, how y'all looking? He was like, yeah, we stopped for a few hours to charge up the car. And I was just like, I hate that shit. I wanted to stop at my gas station. I'm cool, man. Like, they got their pros and their cons. You know what I'm saying? These smart car shit has been there forever. But anyway, this is an interesting scenario. Dude, what, 20 years old, this artist? I pulled up in the background a little bit more of who he is. It looks like he got his big breakthroughs from TikTok and doing music related to, was it Fortnite I saw? All right, so born 2005. Damn, 20 years old. Yeah, he's from New York. Alternative indie pop and R&B type of music. He is a signed artist. I don't know him. That's why I wasn't covering this before, y'all, but this is turning into big news. Early music efforts. He first made music partly because he got copyright strikes on songs when editing Fortnite montages and uploading on YouTube. His mother suggested he make his own original music. So that's how he started using tools like BandLab, and that's what made him a musician. So I guess he was a gamer and stumbled into making music. Shout out to his moms, gave him some wild advice, whether he knew it or not. Breakthrough songs, Romantic Homicide, a viral TikTok song. I'm gonna play it when the stream is over. I'm gonna catch up. I want to see more about him, not just covering this situation. A song named Here With Me. Some of y'all in the chat might know what I'm talking about, might know these songs. Early release EPs, Petals to Thorns, The Lost Petals. These are releases that came in 2023. Debut album Withered released in 2025. All right, so he's new on the scene. He's been breaking through for a couple years. Okay. Other works, he released singles like Feel It for the TV show Invincible. He has performed live tours and built a fan base particularly strong among younger listeners via social media and streaming. Salute to him. Salute to him. Okay. All right. So for him, you hope he's on tour. He's away somewhere. I don't know who has access to your car. I don't know who's got the keys. I don't know. But for him, best bet is he has zero connection, because the moment they start connecting people that he know, then it opens up another thing, another, whole nother motive questioning. And the detectives going to do what the detectives do. We say all the time on this platform, people, these authorities, these detectives, they're not fucking stupid. Y'all need to stop treating them stupid. Stop going in these fucking interrogation rooms thinking y'all spinning them and shit. No, you're going to leave with some Young Thug shit on your name. Like, fuck. All right. But you'll see. The evidence is always, we're in this modern era, B. Do you remember the footage of the O Block shit? Like, they got the whole shit from you guys leaving your apartments all the way to like a half an hour away of you guys pulling up. They got it all. They got traceability through tow trucks, stoplights, cameras here, other cell phone triangulation, Tesla cameras and GPS. And it's not just Tesla. All cars got GPS these fucking days, right? All of them. It's just so much. And you need an alibi, buddy. You need to say, well, that's the thing. It's not like a shooting. It's a decomposed body, allegedly, right? So then you have your forensic people come along. Is it forensic? It's not the forensic people, but come along, determine how long that body has been there, how aged it is post-mortem and all that. All right, the body, we guesstimate it's been, this person, whoever this is, has been deceased for 2 weeks. Okay, well, where were you for the last 2 weeks? All of these things, they've been done all of this. We'll just say it now on the podcast. They've been done all of this shit probably weeks ago or whenever this came about. So those details will make their way to the public more and more and more. But he needs to have no ties to anybody that had their hands on that car. And first, matter of fact, before that, he's got to have himself cleared. He's got to clear that he has no involvement on it, all right? Because you're not going to get out here, allegedly shoot your 2 best friends, and then drive up a couple miles, stage a drive-by, hop out the car, and then have your buddy drop the bodies to the hospital. I'm talking about YMW Melly. Allegedly. It's just not going to work. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get away. Charlie Kirk shooter, you're not getting away. It's not happening in today's age, people. So, you become a very, very controversial person, and your name will be left in history books if you get tied to decomposing body parts in your trunk. If you have alibis of you not being involved and then also having no connections to anybody that had access to the car, then this becomes one of those just wild scenarios where, I'm a celebrity, but that shit over there, not me. Cardi B had something this year, right, where she ended up getting in trouble, I think, for the amount of weed in her crib or something like that. But her house was getting burglarized, right? And when the police came, they looked around a little bit too much, trying to sniff her drawers and whatnot in the fucking closet, came across some weed, allegedly, and then she got in trouble for that. It's like, what the fuck? But, she's on tour. People might break into your crib, or somebody might break into your car, or somebody might borrow your car. I hope I have no friends that'll borrow my car and leave a body in the trunk. Like, what the fuck? Then wow, Jeffrey Dahmer right underneath my fucking nose. Like, how did you escape the realities this long? It happens. Sometimes you don't know who. Y'all remember the story I just gave you, a C, the other day? No signs to any of us. And I don't have a problem with his preference. I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know until that time in the locker room. Y'all remember that stream we just did? I didn't know. So you just, whatever. I'll leave it alone. Leave it alone. All right, next up in fast news, Tyreke Hill, man. What's going on with you? National Organization for Women urges NFL to suspend Tyreke Hill while domestic violence allegations are investigated. One of the most prominent women's organizations in the country is demanding the NFL suspend Tyreke Hill as Roger Goodell's league investigates the latest domestic violence allegations against Dolphins superstar. National Organization for Women President Kim, whatever her last name is, told TMZ Sports this week she's livid that despite Keita Vaccaro's claims against him, the Miami wide receiver will still be allowed to suit up against the New England Patriots later Sunday. There is a guilty until proven innocent element, right? But is there a trail behind Tyreke? I think he's had multiple allegations, kind of like allegedly, but like Trey Songz. Okay, like Trey Songz could be a guy based on what's been said over the years about him on the internet so much that if some women's activist groups went after Trey Songz the same way they went after R. Kelly. Now R. Kelly, there's videos, he ended up going to trial, public trial. We all watched it in front of our face. So him getting attacked and people rioting his shows and all that, yeah, that's gonna happen to you, buddy. The Trey Songz thing, it feels this, it's like it's there, but it's not, right? Allegedly. But people for years have been men, women, and when I say men, I mean like other celebrities. Matter of fact, what was it? It was a talk show host that said it, was it? It was a radio talk show host that was just like like Trey Songz is like one of the worst of the worst, but he's had so much on his name over the years. I think he just beat a case or won something a case like the other week. But anyway, Tyreke Hill, if you got a history, then that's where these people are gonna start running down on you. And when I say a history, I don't mean a history of you actually doing it. I mean a history of accusations. That's where it'd be like the smoke is where there's smoke, there's fire type shit. You know, but if we're gonna be fair, if his ex-wife, for example, comes out and says, we're getting divorced, fuck him. Oh, by the way, he beat on me. And then we're gonna turn around and say, don't let him play his games or go earn his living. I don't know if that's fair. Right? Like, is he being accused of it? Is it proven? You know, allegations hurt. There's certain things that no man wants on their jacket. Allegations hurt. But if you're going to say now you don't get the ability to go earn a living, well, if that's going to be the case, there should be some more proof or some more closure to his personal situation, right? If you're going to try to stop him from working, that's all I'm saying. But they on Tyreke's heels right now. You know, he had that other situation where he got arrested. And they threw him face down and all that. And then he did the handcuff touchdown celebration in the next game. Tyreke, you're becoming controversial, man. And I hate that for you because you are an all-time great wide receiver. So I hope the allegations aren't true. And I hope he begins to come out of all of this, you know. But you're going to become a target now that you got whole women's rights prominent organizations on your heels now. They put you on the board. One of our targets, Tyreke Hill. Not good. Not good. Not good. Last but not least, in quick news, I just thought that this was funny. And some of you young guys, man, you got to learn how to move around men with their ladies. I Speed, now fuck with Speed. I like Speed a lot. I like Drewski. I like Speed. I like Kai. Don't give a fuck about Aiden Ross. I'm like talking about some of the new streamers. The Black Boy Max guy. I don't know if I'm a fan of him, but I'm definitely a fan and supportive of Speed, Drewski, and Kai Sanat. But Speed, man, hey man, slow your ass down, buddy.
Is she good? You want to go? You want to go to the suite for the food? What? I'm good.
Okay. Dancing it off for the camera is hilarious. But what else do you do in this awkward moment? Oh my God. I don't know what that's about right there. But one more again.
You want to go to the suite for the food?
That's not really the target. Really, the target is how it starts. Speed, you're walking up on another man with his lady, and the first thing you say is she good? Guys, that's a no-no, right? First of all, you check in with the man first. You check in with the man. When I went to a funeral a couple weeks ago, I was with my little sis, not blood sis, but you know, family forever. So it's like my little sis. And I knew this girl since we were both in the sandbox, okay? But she was there with her husband. And we were talking about vacations, family vacations. Like, yo, make sure we on each other's lines when people start booking the next family trips and family vacations and all that. Let me know. And I'm telling her, I'm talking about Kira. What's up, Kira? If you ever tune in, love you, Kira. And I'm like, all right, y'all, I'm gonna hit your line. And she goes, no, hit him. And she talked to her husband. Now I didn't grow up with her husband. I don't know her husband that well. I've been around him a couple of times. Real nice guy, real cool guy. But she did the right thing. Like, no, I'm that's the man of my home, you know, and at the end of the day, you're my brother, but you're also a man. So men are supposed to align, right? So even she, as my little sis and a woman, she did the right thing by her husband in front of her husband's face, right? Like, well, yeah, text my husband the dates or whatever, and you know, we'll go from there. Like, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm text your husband too. Give me a number. I got you, you know? And point being, you're also a celebrity, Kai. Like, everybody knows you got a lot of money and you could stunt and all that. I'm not saying that's what he was trying to do, but when you have a status like that, one of the most successful and rich streamers out there right now, running around the globe tearing shit up, and you walk up on a man and a woman, and the first thing is she good? That's like those skits that Drake be having Like when Drake is talking to his homeboy, but he's kind of like semi-romancing his girl at the same time. There's protocol. Like, don't walk up on me and invite my girl somewhere. Like, you talk to me. Like, Kevin Gates grabs her by the back of his neck and says, "She good, nigga. I'm good." Like, you come to, like, you got to be careful because it comes across like you're serenading my woman, or you don't get to me or us through her. I'm the man in the situation. You know, if I'm playing by standards and I'm opening doors and I'm treating her like a queen and I'm leading us, right? I don't take a second fiddle when another man comes into the equation and says, "Yeah, yo, you good, shorty?" What? Hold on, nigga. This is borderline disrespectful. Like, so Speed just learned the lesson of protocol. I don't think he meant anything by it. I don't think it was purposeful, but Kevin Gates taught him the lesson right there on the spot. I'm good. I mean, is she good? No, it don't work like that, buddy. Especially if you're an alpha and you're really a leader. You know, you got a lot of men that just sit there and be like, "Are you good? What you want to do, girl?" Like, ew, bitch. Like, what do you mean? Nigga, you're supposed to take the initiative there. You're supposed to lead there. And you're supposed to tell the guy that as well. Like, hold on, what's going on? And even if it was awkward, there's a way to insert yourself like, so wait, tell me, what's the plan? What y'all talking about? And if she knows you well enough, she will take a step back and see that you just confronted what's going on. Like, hey, wait, what's the plan? What y'all trying to do? Skybox up there, whatever. Word? I don't know. Maybe we will come up in a little bit. I'll see. Right now I'm chilling. I got you though. I appreciate you. You take the initiative. But I'm talking to the men that actually move like this. If you don't care about none of this type of stuff, then that topic don't even apply to you. Okay. All right. This don't feel like a controversial stream at all. It feels like an expansion stream. So I'm telling you, man, over time, and shit's hurt a little bit. You know, your fucking ears for hours. Coming over to the supers. I think I brought a lot of these up in real time, but Jay says all of your streams are important. Bless up. Thank you, love. And if you're missing that, you got to go to the intro of today's stream, and it'll fully make you understand why this is not clickbait, why the title says my most important stream ever. All right. Because it's for my little ones, my little monsters, my little gremlins. Nah, I raise them right. Trust me. I ain't got no junior damas in my crib. Jay with the hat, shout out again. Thank you, love. As I told you, I got a couple of these while I was out in Vegas, so more to come this week. Yes, shout out to the chat. SJS, he's got a 10 and a 7. Yeah, y'all will be able to identify with me even more now on certain topics, and when I have certain opinions or when I get passionate about certain things, y'all be like, yeah, that's his father nerve that's being tweaked right there when ARP just said that. You will identify more with me now. And that was one of the things that I told myself would come of me being a spokesman to a degree, a host, a podcaster, all those things. You know, understanding some of my motives, motivations, priorities, you know, gives further context or background to like, yo, why does he hate Sukiana? Oh, remember, you're talking to a father, like the guy got a daughter, like, you know what I'm saying? So you'll get it more, all right? And I think I owed y'all that. I definitely owed it to myself because I kept it bottled up for, it feels like 13 years, ever since I came on the internet. Well, 12 years because my son is 12, but it feels like all my internet time, I had these conversations with some of my closest people behind the scenes, like, you look at my Instagram, like, nah, my son and my daughter ain't up there. Like, I'm scared of y'all. Y'all gonna put me in jail. You know, so I'm trying. Still my job to protect my home and to protect my family, whether I'm on the internet or not. But I'm opening my that door for myself, you know, like allow that so that I can express myself more meaningful with things that are important to me. So shout out to you, SJS, and yours, 10 and 7. So I was a little close. Like I said, 12 and 9 for me. 12 and 9. The beginning starts blue and turns red. So shout out to KX. I remember this was during our Charlie Kirk topic. Like I said, I think I brought a lot of these up during the topic while videos are playing. So I think we almost caught up. When the topic is politics, your statements will have those effects. It's inevitable. You'll see. Thank you. it'll be my job to try to be as responsible as possible. I'm not perfect. And try to keep our karma good and my karma good. You know, I don't want to preach hatred at all. And I don't want to do things that's going to continue the things that I mentioned that I'm against, like create divisions. You know, I want Democrats and Republicans happy here. I want white and black happy here. I want men and women happy here. I want heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, transsexual people. I want everybody to be comfortable here, you know? And sometimes that even can slow your pace. You know, you water down your openness too much. You know, somebody that takes a platform and says this or nothing, they create cult followings, and sometimes their voices get sped up because it's a more controversial position to take. But that's not me naturally. You know, I grew up around all different types of people. I have love and respect for all different types of people, you know, so it's just not in me to get up here and be like, fuck the left. No, fuck the right. There's a day I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna see some shit, I'm gonna be like, I don't fuck with the left for that. I don't fuck with the right for that. I don't want to be a Republican, a conservative, a liberal, or blood or crip. Well, you know, you know. So, but we're gonna continue to grow as a family here on the podcast, and we're gonna continue to understand each other more and more. Shout out to my chat, man. Drew, he literally swallowed his own words. Yeah, this is a if you didn't catch what he means by this one, I ain't gonna rehash it. I'll give the context to it. But you on your shit with this comment right here, huh, Drew? I'm gonna leave that alone, buddy. Shout out to Melly, our member in mod. Thank you for the heart. I appreciate you, love. Really, really appreciate y'all. You like right. So once again, fuck no. How many times you guys see me tear down Brittany Renner to have that answer? Despise her, okay? Sexy Red, don't like her. Sukiana, despise her. The bitch just did a fucking twerk video in a pamper showing off how women should manage their cycles. Once again, when you saw that passion come out of me the other day, you're talking to a father. Imagine if I walked in my daughter's bedroom without knocking. I don't always knock when I walk into my daughter's bedroom because she's young. She's only 9, right? Imagine I would just open the door, walk into my daughter's bedroom, and she's creating a fucking Instagram video twerking about this is what I do when I'm on my man, listen. It'd be some straightening in the crib. That's all I'm gonna say, man. And point is, once again, you see where that passion comes from when I see some of that shit. But Cardi B, for some reason, I'm cool with her ratchetness. I got my picks. All right. Of course, around. Yeah, I mean, no, not jail, like as if what you would do to your daughter. You know, like I ain't abusive. I'm a disciplinarian, though. I run a very, very disciplined home and ship. Okay, so my kids know not to play with me. Kids will be kids. They're gonna do what they do. They're gonna try to get away with what they can get away with. Kids are like water, right? Universal solvent. Remember when they taught us that in school? They're gonna find their way through anything if they just have enough time. They're going to figure out which parent will say yes, which parent will say no, what words I could use with this parent, what tones I could use with that parent, how I could talk like this around grandparents, how I could act like this when I'm with this person. And there's multiple versions of them. And I've learned that as a father with my kids because I was the same way when I was a kid. I remember one time I came home, I got my ass whooped from just a regular one-on-one fight, right? Dude got off first, and I was just like, I just never recovered fully. I was just like fighting up the whole fight. Like, fuck. Everybody in the neighborhood is gonna say I lost this one. Like, I'm not gonna say a person's name because people might remember from high school. You know what I'm saying? But it happened to be a fight that I lost. And when I went home, I was furious, and I was still venting about it. And my mom asked me, she was just like, "Oh my God, like, is this your first fight?" And somehow that question took all the fury out of me. Because what her question was so laughable to me. It's like I went from being pissed and stomping around the crib a little bit. And then she's like, "Oh my, is this your first fight?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "This is my 1000th fight." But parents They just don't know everything. Like, I was one way in the crib, and then I'm a whole nother way that my mother never knew. They never knew. You know what I'm saying? You get into so much. These kids come home, they learn shit out in the world. I find out about a lot of shit that my kids know, and I just be like, damn, that didn't come from my house. Like, where'd you learn that? And it don't have to be controversial or bad shit. The kids come home and doing a new dance. Like, where you learn that dance? I don't even play that song. How you know that dance? You know, like, that's kids, man. And they're water for real, for real. They will figure out their ways. So, the discipline must remain there, but it's impossible to fully contain a child. And to a degree, trying to fully contain them and their experiences actually could have a negative impact. Like, I seen that with girls I grew up with. Seen girls that were very, very contained, and the moment they got a inch to breathe, they went straight to wild. It's like they playing catch up, And so it's finding the balance. Being a parent ain't easy, but it is the most beautiful thing you can do in your lifetime. Like, I have friends that don't have kids, and I've always preached to them and told them, like, there's nothing better than you can do in your single. It's not making $1 billion. It's not buying your first home. It's not driving a Mercedes. It's not the best thing that you can do. The most enjoyable thing that will fill your heart is fathering or mothering a child. It's the most beautiful thing ever. To birth that little guy or girl and raise them. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So that's cool, Melly. If your time or when your time comes, you'll see. You'll see. And when your maternal instincts kick into it and you start getting defensive, or this person starts to mold like you, whatever, is become your little twin and shit. Like, my literal ARP Jr., like, I watch him take on some of my ways, some of my thoughts, some of my philosophies. It's like all the random proud moments and shit. Random proud moments. Like yesterday, I gave him some gifts from being out in Vegas. And this little motherfucker, once again, my son is 12. This little motherfucker, after I give him his gifts, he says, "Thank you, Dad." He's very, very respectful. He always gets compliments. Both of my kids, like waiters and waitresses, would give my kids compliments. Like, Jesus, like your kids, like the way they order food and ask for thank you and please and all that. So I raised mine right. But yesterday I give him his gifts and he's like, "Thank you, Dad." And I'm like, "You're welcome." And he reaches out to give me a dap instead of give me a hug. And I was just like, what the fuck? But what did I do? Knowing that he's coming into his coolness more and more and more as a 12-year-old boy, he's about to be a teenager. I give him his dap. I'm like, all right, boo, hit him with the shoulder. I got you. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm that type of father too. I got that real cool side to me too. Like, yo, what we dealing with today? Like, you know what I'm saying? But I was just like, it's little. He don't know that he did that to me yesterday. He don't know. But him getting gift and saying thank you and dapping his father also shows me the type of father that I am. Like, oh, my father, I could do the cool moment with him. It doesn't have to be just treat him like my authority or my guardian and my father. I could treat him in certain elements like how I interact with my peers. And I try to open that door enough where you remain respectful, like you're supposed to be towards adults, but I let you interact with me in a very comfortable way. That's what opens the doors to like sharing. You know what I'm saying? When I asked my son the same way, in Boys in the Hood, like, "Oh, so why don't you tell me about the first piece of pussy or something?" You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be able to talk to me. I don't want to be like, I can't have this this conversation with my father. I could only talk to little Jeremy at school about this. Nah, that's the cool pops that you could dap. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, yeah, we opened up a can of worms with my intro to today's stream, y'all. So it's gonna unlock a lot in me that I could talk about and how I could talk. And then once again, you people understanding why I say certain things. Yeah, we just unlocked a lot. But all right, y'all ready to get up out of here? It's 8:18. It's later than I thought. I'm moving slow. I got shit to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not just work now that you guys realize I got to do in my days. A whole fucking father too. Gotta be a father. You gotta be a worker. You gotta do, man. So that how we ended yesterday's stream, dude was like, y'all want to walk up to me talking about you did 20 years in prison. Well, do 20, 30, 40 years of this free life. Tell me how hard that is. Yes, I could fucking relate. All right. We out of here. Great stream. Appreciate y'all. 6 a.m. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Don't confuse silence with work ethic. I'm a boss making decisions, my first fetish. The verse cherished is perfect, that's a reverse blemish. I dropped it, connected the block, learn Tetris.
This is the Sorry Street Podcast. Welcome to the house of. And shout out to the members.
Without, I think still got a gun.